After Flores-Ruiz walks by, the agents turn to each other and appear to confirm his identity amongst themselves. But a few moments later, Judge Dugan and another judge approach the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint.
Oh boy, here we go. This is Judge Hannah Dugan, the Wisconsin judge who was arrested by the FBI for sneaking the illegal immigrant out the back door.
As Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street, videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him.
Well, guess what? We have all of the footage. Somehow public records allowed for this to be released. We'll get to that later, but we're going to work together. We're going to watch all of the footage and see if Judge Hannah Dugan is going to be in trouble, and then we will cross-reference it to Wisconsin policy. Let's dig into it.
He meets his attorney in the hallway and walks towards Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom. Along the way, he passes plainclothes federal agents who are sitting on a bench. They are there to detain him. After Flores-Ruiz walks by, the agents turn to each other and appear to confirm his identity amongst themselves.
Okay, this is crucial. The hallway. Does a judge have jurisdiction over the hallway? Can ICE operate in the hallway? We will dig into all of this, but remember, this entire court case revolves around the hallway.
But a few moments later, Judge Dugan and another judge approached the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint against Dugan later said she was alerted to their presence by a court official. That complaint says during this interaction, Dugan and the agents disagreed over the type of warrant they had to arrest Flores-Ruiz. According to the complaint, Dugan ordered the agents to go to the chief judge's office. Video shows her pointing them through a double door. She then turns back to speak with other agents further down the hall and orders them through the doors as well. Shortly after that, with the agents gone from the hallway, Eduardo Flores-Ruiz and his attorney exit into the hallway through a different door.
Now from here, things are not looking too good on camera for Judge Hannah Dugan, and don't worry, we will go through all of the specifics and details of all of the interactions and the legalities of what's happening in this hallway.
As they walk down the hall toward the elevators, they pass another plainclothes federal agent. Neither they nor Judge Dugan seem to have noticed at the time. That agent motions to another to follow Flores-Ruiz. Security video shows Flores-Ruiz exiting through a basement exit. Upstairs on the 6th floor, the other agents have left the chief judge's office and worked their way downstairs. Flores-Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street. Videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him. Flores-Ruiz runs across 10th Street while trying to get away, but the agents catch him and arrest him.
Okay, so please leave your comments down below how you feel about this entire interaction. Now, let's work together piece by piece and figure out whether or not Judge Hannah Dugan is about to be in some big trouble.
First time we're seeing Judge Hannah Dugan outside her courtroom April 18th wearing her black robes, appearing to confront several federal agents there to arrest Eduardo Flores-Ruiz, a Milwaukee man and Mexican national charged locally with 3 counts of domestic battery.
Now, before we even talk about the hallway, let's talk about Eduardo. He's appearing in court for battery, and Judge Hannah Dugan, in the middle of her court hearing, decides, I'm going to leave the court and I'm going to address these ICE agents in the hallway.
The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge.
You heard that correctly. As Judge Hannah Dugan is addressing the ICE agents, you have an illegal immigrant in the courtroom being accused of battery next to the potential victim. So this interaction is happening, but I want to point out, according to Judge Hannah Dugan, this is all just part of her job.
But as you mentioned, her defense team is arguing this case should be dropped altogether because they claim she has judicial immunity for her official acts, which they argue includes removing anyone from her courtroom who could disrupt it.
Now, hold on. That's a hallway, not a courtroom. Here's where things get complicated. When looking into Wisconsin state law, you have something called adjournment to another location. Basically, whenever it is deemed unsafe or inexpedient by reason of war, pestilence, public calamity, or other compelling factors limiting or preventing access to the courthouse, the justices or judges of the court may order court to be held at alternative location. But there's a problem. There was no calamity, and that man was allowed to walk right past those ICE agents.
attorney in the hallway and walks towards Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom. Along the way, he passes plainclothes federal agents who are sitting on a bench. They are there to detain him.
And remember, the wording is very specific, limiting or preventing access. It doesn't look like any of that happened in that hallway.
Judge approached the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint against Dugan later said she was alerted to their presence by a court official. That complaint says during this interaction, Dugan and the agents disagreed over the type of warrant they had to arrest Flores-Ruiz. According to the complaint, Dugan ordered the agents to go to the chief judge's office. Video shows her pointing them through a double door. She then turns back to speak with other agents further down the hall and orders them through the doors as well.
So from here, this is where the DOJ is arguing the judge is clearly and publicly trying to gather or at least misguide the ICE agents to another door to speak to the Chief Justice. However, I do want to point out again in Wisconsin state law, and you guys can go look this up, the public hallway is open typically to the public. This is why whenever you hear of ICE agents or DHS in a court area and they're making these arrests, it's never in the courtroom, it's always in the hallway because the jurisdiction is open to the public. And regardless of that, they had a warrant in which the judge was saying, no, this is not a proper warrant, go in that back door, and hey, guys down the hallway, you have to go back there too.
Federal prosecutors claim, quote, despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores-Ruiz, Judge Dugan escorted Flores-Ruiz and his counsel out of the, quote, jury door, not open to the public. In the video, it appears one federal agent hangs back in the hallway and followed Flores-Ruiz onto an elevator.
Now remember the context. ICE agents, they were all told, hey, you gotta go into that back door, and conveniently you had the old sleight of hand. Now that's what the FBI and DOJ is arguing, that this was all done intentionally and the timing was a little too perfect for the illegal immigrant just to slip by the ICE agents.
She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow. So again, according to the judge, this was all part of her job and they want the charges dropped. But the DOJ is arguing the intentions behind it. It's not illegal necessarily to tell somebody to exit out a back door. However, the intention behind it to evade ICE, that is the argument to be had.
They nor Judge Dugan seem to have noticed at the time. That agent motions to another to follow Flores-Ruiz. Security video shows Flores-Ruiz exiting through a basement exit. Upstairs on the 6th floor, the other agents have left the chief judge's office and worked their way downstairs. Flores-Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street. Videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him. Flores-Ruiz runs across 10th Street while trying to get away, but the agents catch him and arrest him.
Now, this right here is also involved with the complaint. The DOJ is arguing, look, Judge Hannah Dugan caused this. This could have all been settled within the court area in the public hallway where it's been settled before in other cases as far as the arrest of illegal immigrants. But then it led to a foot chase, which put the public at risk. We don't know what this guy is going to do. Again, he's been charged with battery and he's an illegal immigrant. So this is why the DOJ and FBI ultimately ended up arresting Judge Hannah Dugan.
And while they cite the Supreme Court's ruling last year in the presidential immunity case against then former President Trump, Jonathan Turley and other legal experts question how far those immunity claims can actually go.
I don't see how you can argue that because it raises the question, well, what else could she do? Could she have redirected or misled court staff? Could she have hidden this person in her office for a day? I mean, at what point does she stop acting as a judge?
I don't think people realize the severity of this case. I want you guys to understand, if Judge Hannah Dugan wins this case off the premise of, well, this is her job, thus I should have immunity, you do realize this means for any judge in the United States who's anti-immigration policy or is not into these deportations, they now have the ability to do the exact same thing that Judge Hannah Dugan has done. This will now be considered a part of their official duties.
Federal agents arrested Dugan herself a week later.
And Nick, it is not often we get responses to open records requests this quickly, or even when they're a part of an open investigation,
right,
particularly a federal investigation. Do you know why the county released that video now?
Well, that's unclear. We did ask, of course. We made the request immediately when the incident happened here at the courthouse. We did ask the U.S. Attorney's Office, which is prosecuting Dugan, about that video released today, whether they signed off on it or were even aware of it. They responded, though, with a no comment.
Nick Bohr.
Now, let's be honest. If there's one person we can point to as far as a hero in this entire case, it's the public records clerk who allowed this to be in public domain, and now we can make an informed opinion on this entire case.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. She's looking at up to 6 years in prison and a $350,000 fine if she is convicted.
Now from here, we actually have the raw footage. So instead of going through clips, we'll do it live. And I think we get a bit more context. So I do enjoy this as well. So you can see the approach right here from Judge Dugan with the ICE agents. And I think they're even like, what are you doing? Because obviously they're undercover. They don't want to blow their cover. Now the accusation from Pam Bondi is that she was visibly yelling and upset. I wish we could hear the audio and really see what she had to say here. But this interaction was very fast. One thing I'll point out is that ICE was pretty compliant and said, okay, I'll go speak to the Chief Justice. It looks like he was trying not to go. But this right here is not good. I mean, she visibly turns around and you can actually see she's looking for other agents. I don't know how she knows who's an agent and who's not. Again, walking around looking for them. There's that private exit. Which clearly is private. There's nobody walking in and out of that. Okay, so this is another angle of what we just saw. Now again, the context here is that she was in the middle of a court hearing, which to me is a very bad look. And by the way, that's a pretty big hallway. And again, the interaction looks super peaceful, very fast. He has no problem. He's like, okay, I'll talk to the Chief Justice. He doesn't care, it looks like. And he's walking back as well. And where is she going now? Okay, that right there to me, I think, is the part where you see they're getting yelled at. Yeah, that's not good. She just pointed and said, go, it looks like. And she found another one. I mean, could she get in trouble for busting the cover of ICE agents? However, there's one back there. Does he just stick around? Yeah, it doesn't look like he goes through. And then here's the video of a legal immigrant walking out the private door. Walking fast. There is the ICE agent. Yeah, wow. He did not end up going to speak to the Chief Justice. He follows him. I mean, these guys are trained professionals, and I'm almost positive they clearly know their policies. Again, a lot of these ICE arrests, they happen in the public hallway. It never happens in the actual courtroom. There he is right there. Let's fast forward. And then we all saw this part. And there's the running. Okay. So that's kind of the raw footage instead of cutting it up into segments. As you can see, it all happened very fast. And speaking of very fast, these ICE agents look like they're pretty fast as well. Wow. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you had a little bit of an informed look as far as cross-referencing the state policies and looking into her actual ability to facilitate. Again, there is that very vague law of the ability to move the court case or have it in a different location, but as far as any calamity, was there any prevention of the illegal immigrant going to that court hearing? I don't think so according to this footage. And as far as the jurisdiction in the hallway, that is typically held to the security staff. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for being here. God bless, and we'll see you all later.